This is what we're going to make today. It is a trifold made out of packaging paper, scrapbook page, and just embellishments that I had in my stash. So the outside is decorated like this, and the inside has coffee dyed paper for a journaling spot. So let me show you how this comes together. Okay, in order to make this really simple project, you're going to need some packaging paper. This is 12 inches tall, and I cut off a piece that is about 10 3/4 inches wide and just folded it into thirds. It's not by any means perfectly straight. I don't care about that. So I cut this piece to 7 inches, and then this is what's left over. I have some scrap book page here that we're going to use. I have some coffee dyed paper that we're going to use. And then I just have some die cuts here that we're going to use as focal points on our little trifold. So again, this is super simple to make. So one side will be decorative and the other side will be for journaling. Okay. A couple other things that you might want to use is a script stamp with some black ink. I'm also going to do a little bit of splatter on the trifold, and it doesn't matter what color. You use whatever color you like. I just picked these two, and I'll show you what we're going to do with that. All right, and then I have my gesso. So here we go. I'm going to not talk through this too much so it'll be obvious what I'm doing. Okay, so for the back side, this will be our writing space or journaling space, and I'm going to cover it with some coffee dyed paper, and then we'll reinforce the creases with some very thin tape, not tape, lace, just to make sure that those don't crack going forward. So I'm going to cut these scraps down to size. I want to leave a little bit of a margin all the way around it. Cut it this way first. Like I said, I did not cut this perfectly straight. I don't care about that. You can certainly do yours that way. So I'm getting a little bit of vintage photo here and ink around the edges before I glue this down. Okay, let's do another one. So I am going to be sewing around all of this. Before we do that, let's go ahead and add our lace to the spines. I can do it either on this side or this side. It really doesn't matter. I think I'm going to do it on this side. And this is some very thin lace, but it's really all that we need. So let me go ahead and put some Fabri-Tac down. And we'll trim that off. But for now, let's pull out a couple of our little die cuts here. Okay, so I've placed the focal points on here that I want to use. Little small pieces of ephemera. I'm going to go ahead and ink this. And this is one of those projects you just pull from your stash, just random things. That's what I'm doing. Don't overthink it. I am trying to keep with a little bit of a botanical theme. Okay. And if you don't have die cuts, use stickers. Anything goes with stuff like this. Let's go ahead and I'm going to go, before I do anything else, and sew around all of these edges. I trim these things off and we'll come right back. Okay, so here's what we have. I have sewn, I did the sewing from this side because I wanted to make sure that I got the edges of all of these writing areas down. And another thing, if you're going to sew, just make sure that there's nothing critical on the front side that you don't want sewn over. And I was fine with all of this. So I sewed around this little thing right here. I left that alone, trimmed off the lace, and so this is what we have. And I think that is so adorable. So the only other thing I think I'm going to do now is add an eyelet right here. I've already found the center. I'm just going to put some seam binding in that so that we can tie that up. I mean, you could just leave it like that if you wanted to. And I just think that is adorable. So that is thin enough because we put it on this thin packaging paper. It will fit into a pocket very, very nicely and provide you some secret journaling space. Okay. And all I did was use stash. Just to recap, I used the packaging paper. This very thin packaging craft paper. It's 12 inches wide, mine is anyway. And I cut off a piece that was about 10 3/4 inches wide. It doesn't matter. If you want to cut it 12 inches and fold it so you have equal thirds, that's fine. I used some scrap leftover book page. We used a script stamp in the background. I used peeled paint and abandoned coral for my background. Vintage photo to distress some of the edges of the ephemera that I used. And then I just pulled these other little pieces from my stash, the butterflies, the die cuts, the labels, all of it. Then we added some lace to the spine just to keep it nice and strong. Okay, and this is a botanical themed focal point so that you can use it in that type of journal. You can actually use it in most any kind of journal. And then I used some scrap coffee dyed paper for the inside for some writing space. And by the time you glue all of these layers down, this is actually fairly sturdy. Okay, you don't have to leave the strings like I did. So super easy, super easy. So I have this leftover piece here, so I cut this to 7 inches, and then this is 5 inches, and you can do the same thing and just have a smaller one to go into your journal. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that, and if you had any questions about anything you saw me do, you know what to do. Just leave a comment down below and I will answer your questions as best I can. Thank you for joining me today and spending your time with me, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.